Since childhood, we've been told that women are the weaker sex, that girls shouldn't be hurt, that women are the flowers of life. Yeah, right. Tell that to the guys who are smelling those flowers from the other side of the grave. History knows women next to whom Al Capone would look like a church choir boy. They ran cartels, robbed trains, and kept entire empires in fear. And do you know what their main weapon was? No, not a gun in a purse, but the fact that men are idiots. A man sees a pair of beautiful legs and turns off his brain, and while he's staring at her stockings, she's already rewriting his will. Today we'll look at 11 femme fatales who prove that beauty is a terrible force. It's a frightening power, literally. As they say in Odessa, beware of a woman who knows what she wants. She'll get it, and then you'll be explaining to the police where your pants went. Let's go. Let's start with a classic. Bonnie and Clyde. Everyone thinks she was just the gangster's girlfriend, a bandit's girlfriend. Nonsense. She was the brains and, most importantly, the brand manager of this gang. Before Bonnie, the robbers were just dirty criminals. Bonnie turned crime into a show. Remember that famous photo where she's standing with a cigar in her teeth and a revolver on her hip? She staged that photo herself and deliberately left the film at the crime scene so the newspapers would find it. She understood the psychology of the masses. People don't want a robber, they want a star. She wore berets, wrote poetry, and put on lipstick before shootouts. Male cops were stunned. They couldn't bring themselves to shoot at a petite blonde. They couldn't wrap their heads around the fact that this little doll could hit a matchbox from 30 meters away with a Thompson submachine gun. Bonnie proved that if you're well-dressed, people will forgive you even a couple of corpses. Well, at least for a while. If Pablo Escobar was the king of cocaine, then Griselda was the one the king was afraid of. She was called the Black Widow. Do you know why? Because she personally killed her husbands, and there were 3 of them. A Colombian-style divorce, a bullet to the forehead, and the property is yours. But her genius lay elsewhere. She invented something that you can now find in every lingerie store. Griselda opened a factory producing luxury women's lingerie with hidden pockets. Hundreds of beautiful girls would fly from Colombia to Miami wearing bras stuffed with the purest product. Male customs officers would see the voluptuous chests, blush, smile, and let tons of goods through. She played on men's weaknesses. As Zhvanetsky joked, alcohol in small doses is harmless in any quantity. In the same way, Griselda believed that female beauty is a drug that blinds the law. And she became a billionaire while men were staring at cleavage. And now, our very own Sofia Blufstein, a legend of the criminal underworld of the Russian Empire. She didn't kill, she enchanted. Her method was called Guten Morgen. Sonia dressed like a wealthy aristocrat, stayed in the finest hotels, and slipped into men's rooms at dawn. If the guest woke up and saw a luxurious lady in diamonds before him, she would smile sweetly, say she had entered the wrong room, and flirt. The man, stunned by such a visit, wouldn't even notice how his watch and wallet disappeared. But her main trick was her nails. She would deliberately grow long nails, under which she would hide precious stones right in jewelry stores. Imagine, a count stands there, admiring her delicate fingers, kissing her hand, while under her nail there's already a 2-carat diamond. Odessa was proud of her. As they used to say in Moldavanka, Sonia wasn't a thief. She was simply redistributing beauty in nature. Forget about Jack Sparrow. The most successful pirate in history was a woman. Ching Shi started out as a prostitute in a floating brothel and ended up commanding a fleet of 40,000 cutthroats. How did a courtesan manage to bring an army of men under her control? With the strictest discipline and an understanding of male psychology. She introduced a code of laws. If a pirate raped a captive woman, he would be beheaded. If he stole from the common treasury, he would be beheaded. But at the same time, she wore silk robes, carried fans, and always looked impeccable. The Chinese emperor was so desperate that, unable to defeat her, he offered her a pension. She is the only female pirate who retired, kept her loot, and opened her own casino. Men think that power is about fists. A woman knows that power is a system, and a little bit of terror. The 1920s, New York. Gangsters are dividing up the city. And then she appears, Madame Queenie, a black woman who told the Italian Mafia to go to hell. She ran Harlem's underground lottery. When the famous Dutch Schultz, a mad gangster, decided to squeeze her, she didn't hide. She started a war. Stephanie wore furs, drove a Rolls-Royce, and published ads in newspapers where she openly called out mobsters and crooked cops. Idiots! She used her intellect where men use baseball bats. When Schultz was lying in the hospital, mortally wounded, she sent him a telegram. "You reap what you sow." She died a wealthy old lady in her own bed. A rare case for a gangster. The moral is simple. Don't anger a woman who can count money better than you. You've probably heard of the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas. It was built by the gangster Bugsy Siegel, but it was named after her, Virginia Hill, nicknamed Flamingo for her long, slender legs. Virginia was a mafia courier. She transported millions of dollars in cash across the country. Why wasn't she ever caught? Because she looked like a Hollywood star. Who would suspect a girl in a Chanel dress and sable furs? That inside her hatbox she was carrying the budget of a small town? She was a genius at laundering money. She simply spent it. Parties, jewelry, $100 tips. As one comedian joked, she spent mafia money so fast that the tax authorities couldn't keep up with it. Bugsy Siegel loved her madly, and that was his downfall. They say she stole a couple of million from the Mafia, and Bugsy was shot for embezzlement. And Virginia left for Europe to drink wine. Take notes, girls. London, 19th century. Things start disappearing from shops. Fur coats, bolts of silk, jewelry. The police are in shock. No one suspicious, only respectable ladies in lavish dresses. Meet the 40 Elephants Gang, an exclusively female group. Their secret weapon was fashion. They wore special skirts and coats with huge hidden pockets. A woman could walk into a shop looking skinny and leave a bit plumper with 2 fur coats and a set of silverware between her legs, held in place by special straps. Male police officers were embarrassed to search the ladies. How could you possibly look under a lady's skirt? That's improper. The gang lasted for almost 100 years. For 100 years, men were too embarrassed to check what a lady had under her crinoline. In Odessa, they would say, "Madam, have you gained weight, or did you just walk out with the entire jewelry store?" All right, enough about money. Let's talk about maniacs. Elizabeth Bathory is listed in the Guinness Book of Records as the most prolific serial killer. 650 victims. She was obsessed with beauty. She believed that the blood of young girls rejuvenated her skin. I won't go into the horrors, but note one fact. She was incredibly beautiful and educated. For years, the local nobility turned a blind eye to the fact that maids were disappearing in her castle. Why? Because, well, it just can't be that such a beautiful woman could be a monster. This is called the halo effect. If a person is beautiful, we automatically assume they are kind. Guys, remember, just because she looks like an angel doesn't mean she doesn't have a torture chamber in her basement. Maybe she's just really good at applying foundation. The most famous female spy in history. Margaretha Gertrude Zeller. She didn't know how to crack safes. She didn't know any ciphers. She just danced. She made up a story that she was a princess from Java and danced half-naked in front of French and German generals. While the general was drooling, watching as the last veil slipped off her, he would spill the details of his attack plans to her. In court, the prosecutor said, "This woman caused the deaths of 50,000 soldiers." The funniest and saddest thing is that she was a terrible spy. She mixed up information, took money from both sides, but the men were so blinded by her body that they believed everything. Even when she came to her execution, she wore a fashionable suit, blew a kiss to the soldiers, and refused a blindfold. 12 soldiers fired, but only 3 hit her. The others' hands trembled. Beauty is a terrible force, right up to the very end. I was Chairman Mao's dog. Whoever he told me to bite, I bit. Jiang Qing started out as an actress. Beautiful and ambitious, she seduced the leader of China and became his 4th wife. But being a wife wasn't enough for her. She wanted to be a director of an entire country. During the Cultural Revolution, she effectively ruled China. She destroyed culture, banned books. She sent millions of people to labor camps, all with impeccable hair and fashionable glasses. She proved that a female dictator can be harsher than any man, because a man kills for power, but a woman also kills for revenge, against those who once denied her a role in the theater. Never offend actresses. Seriously. And let's finish with the present day. A Russian spy who was arrested in the USA. What did she do? Did she steal blueprints for a nuclear bomb? No. She simply moved in high society, seduced influential men, and transmitted information via Wi-Fi. When she was arrested, the American press went crazy. They discussed not her crimes, but her Facebook photos and her figure. She became a sex symbol of espionage. Instead of prison, she got magazine covers and her own TV show. This is the perfect example of our theory. If she looked like a crocodile, she'd be rotting in prison. But she's a red-haired vixen, so she's a star. Men forgive beautiful women everything, even betraying their country. So guys, do you still consider yourselves the stronger sex? These women proved that a gun is crude. The real weapons are manipulation, fashion, and the ability to shed a tear or show a leg at the right moment. As Ranevskaya used to say, women are certainly smarter. Have you ever heard of a woman who lost her head just because a man had beautiful legs? Stay vigilant. And if your lady suddenly starts taking an interest in poisons or buys a ticket to Colombia, check to make sure your passport is still there. Write in the comments which of these ladies scared or impressed you the most. I'm voting for Sonia. Like this video if you want to live, and subscribe. Next time, about harems. Things aren't all that sweet there either. Bye.